Hello dear students, this is Arpit Gupta from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota. Students, today we are going to take the revision of chapter 1 and 2 of your business studies for class 12th. So, in our first chapter, we have already discussed the following topics, that is what is the meaning of the management, nature of the management. We have categorized it into three types, that is management as an art, as in science and as an profession. And we have discussed the levels of management. We have categorized it into three types, that is top level management, middle level management and lower level management. Last, we have discussed in this chapter the meaning of coordination. What is the overall meaning, nature and importance of coordinations. Let's discuss the points to remember of this particular chapter. So, first we have discussed the concept of the management. What is the meaning of the management? It is a process of getting the work done through the others. In the organization, management generally get their works with the supervisory level or with the lower level. Managers generally manage all the things, give the task to the subordinate level and then subordinates perform their activities. Okay. Next, we have discussed the meaning of effectiveness and efficiency. If we talk about effectiveness, it is meaning the work to be done with the minimum resources. That means here the main emphasis is on the cost. We have to complete our work with the minimum cost and with the greater efficiency. Efficiency means on the time period. Next one are the characteristics of the management. What are the characteristics? First one is it is an goal oriented process, means the whatever the functions are performed in the organization is for performing the goals of the organizations. Whatever planning has been done by the top management, it is the duty of middle level and supervisory level to perform the activities according to that plan. Management is all pervasive, that means it is required at all the levels of the organization, whether it is top level, it is middle level or it is the lower or supervisory level. It is multidimensional, that means the management is required at all the levels, that means it is required at the people, at the work and at the organization. It is an continuous process, that means it is not a single time activity. We have to manage the organizations again and again if any circumstances, if any scenario changes according to the government policies, according to the taste and preferences of the consumers. Now, the next one is the functions of the management. As we have already discussed, there are 5 types of functions which are basically performed in the organization, and the first one is the planning. Now, what is the meaning of planning? It is basically a decision which is taken by the top level of the organizations about the goals of the organizations, what the organization will perform, what is the overall objective of the organizations, why we are performing these activities. It is ultimately the plans which are made by the top management of the organization, and the top management includes the board of directors, CEO, basically the owners of the organizations. Okay. The next one is organizing. Now, if we have decided the objective of the organization, the next thing is the organization of the activities, means we have to arrange all the activities in a chronological order. What we have to perform at the initial stage and what at the second stage, means here all the activities are arranged in a systematic or in the ascending order. The third one is staffing. Here the persons are recruited, here the jobs are given to the right individual according to the requirement of the organizations. All the selection process, that means the interviews, the medical examinations, all the process are done under the staffing. The next one is directing. Here directions are given to the subordinates to perform their activities. The plans has been decided. Now the instructions are given by the top level management, or we can say the middle level management, to the supervisory level, so that the functions of the organizations can be performed. And the last one is controlling. Here the deviations are identified, what we have planned and what we have actually achieved. Here the deviations between the planning and the actual performance is identified, and if there is any deviations between our planning and the actual scenario, then the reasons behind this are find out. So in the controlling, basically the observations are done by the top management of the organization, and if there is any kind of differences, then differences are met out. So students, let's discuss with the important questions of this particular chapter. The first question is, why management is considered as a multifaceted concept? Now, why it is known as multifaceted, why it is categorized into three types? Because management is generally basically an activities which is performed in the organizations by the managers. Management is done basically in three types, that is management of the work. Here the organization is doing any economic activities, that is producing and selling of goods and services. The works are done for achieving the organizational objective. So first one is management of work. The second one is management of people. As we know, in all the organizations, the individuals are performing, employees are performing different activities. So it is necessary to manage all the activities in the organizations. So if we know, the employees are the main assets of the organizations, and it is very mandatory to manage all the human resources, to assign the task to the individual, to give their duties, and to solve or resolve out the problems which they are facing in the production phase. The third one is management of operations. It requires the processes which are going to take place in the organizations. That means what overall activities which are going to place in the organization, what are the overall process of conversion from input to the output. We have to manage all the activities, that is we have to manage the marketing activities, we have to manage the purchase activities, we have to manage the selling activities, and we have to manage all those activities till the final product is sold out to the consumers. So it is the duty of the managers to manage all the operations of the organization, and because of this it is known as multifaceted concept. Okay. The next question is, discuss the basic features of the management as profession. As we know, management is a function of a professional body. It requires specialized skill. We have to get the degree to perform the management activities. So it is a features of the professional. Why? Because it is well defined body of knowledge. That means the person who is managing the activities is having the knowledge how to manage all these things, how to do the functioning of the managers, because he has already gained the theoretical knowledge and the practical knowledge of handling different scenarios. Second one is professional associations. There means there are several associations which are working for managing the organizations. For example, AIMA, that is All India Management Association, it is having the code of conduct for performing. Code of conduct means basically the rules and regulations for managing the activities of the organization. Third one is service motive. That means all the management activities are done for giving the best services by the organization at the reasonable price. That means it is affordable by the individual, by the consumers of the society. Okay. The next important question is, why management is considered both art and science? Explain. As we know, the management is directly comparable with an art because it is a process. Each and every individual, if we talk about different managers in the organizations, each and every manager is having his own efficiency, his own way of managing the things. We cannot compare the two managers in the organizations. Maybe the working methods of both the managers may be different, but the objective of both the managers is one and the same. The first one is existence of theoretical knowledge. If we are doing the management of any activities, we must have the theoretical knowledge, and we must be a specialized body in having the theoretical knowledge, because we have studied different scenarios, we have tackled different scenarios in our training phase. So we must be well capable in managing all the activities in the organization. Second one is personalized application. That means now we are handling the actual situation in the organization. So how well we can manage, how well we can tackle the situation, it is on the knowledge of the manager. how he can basically see the scenario of the organization and tackle the situation, how he faced the different situations of the organization. Next one is, it is based on practice and creativity. That means when the actual practical situation arises, how in best way we tackle these situation depends upon the manager. The next one is, management as an inexact science, that is, it is systematized body of knowledge, that is, science is based on experimentation. As we know, all the theories are introduced on after doing the experimentations on the different objects. Similarly, the scenario is with the management. Here the experimentation are done, and if the experimentations become successful, then it becomes the policy of the organization. The next one is, it has universal validity. That means management is irrespective to the organization. Whatever the function of the organization is, it is required in all the management of the organization. That is, it is an educational institute, whether it is an production industries, all the industries requires the management, and the working procedure may be different, but the management is required by all the organizations. Okay. Okay. The next question is, coordination is the essence of management. That means the question is asking whether coordination is required in the management or there is no necessity of doing any type of coordination. As we know, there must be a proper coordination between each and every individual of the organization, so that activities can be discussed and the ultimate objective of the organizations can be achieved. So, if we want to say that in the organization no coordination is required, then it is purely a wrong statement, because if there is no coordination in the organization, then the management activities cannot be performed. The overall objective, the working procedure of the organizations will be cannot be managed easily. Okay, the next one is, a successful enterprise has to achieve its goal effectively and efficiently. As we know, we have discussed two terms in this particular chapter, that is effectiveness and the efficiency. If we talk about effectiveness, it means with the minimum resources. That means the cost in the organization should be minimized and the profit should be maximized. Okay, here the connection with the time is not so important, but if we talk about the efficiency, we have to complete the our task with the minimum cost and with the maximum efficiency. Okay. Okay, the last and the most important question for your this particular chapter is the functions of the management, as we have discussed in the points to remember part also. The first one is planning. Planning is deciding the work what an organization has to perform. It is overall process of getting the goals of the organizations. It helps in predicting the situations of the organization and how well the goals of the organizations can be discussed or the managed. The second one is organizing. That means we have to decide the overall procedure of the organization. We have to arrange all the activities in a chronological or in the systematic manner. The third one is staffing. That means the hiring of the right people for the right job. The person who is having a capability to perform the job is recruited in the organization, and ultimately task is given to that individual. Okay, the next one is directing. Directing means giving the instruction, means influencing the people to perform the activities in the organization. Directing generally relates with the giving of instructions by the top management or the middle level management, so that overall objective of the organization can be achieved. Okay, and the last one is controlling. It means it is a process of checking that the work is going according to the plan or not. If there is any kind of deviation, then such deviations are removed, or it should be met out, so that the deviations can be eliminated and the overall objective of the organizations can be achieved. Okay. The next and the last important questions is the case study. Okay. Here there are two people who are good friends, that is Anuj and Manju. Considering the fact that the activities involved in managing an enterprise are common to all the organizations. Now they are good friends and they are discussing that the management procedure is same in irrespective to the organization. Okay. After completing their masters in the business management, both of them take up a job at a managerial level in different organizations. Now, after completing their studies, they have gone through the managerial activities in the different organizations. They have joined the separate organizations for managing the activities of that particular organization. Anuj takes up marketing job in the retail company. Now, one of the friend involves in the marketing job and strives to increase the sales. Now, if he are in the marketing job, then he wants to increase the sale of the organization, whereas the other friend Manju joins the NGO. NGO means non-governmental organization and works diligently to realize its objective related to providing employment to the specially abled peoples. That means the person who are physically disabled, who are not getting the jobs very easily, the second friend involves in providing the job to that physically disabled persons. Both of them has to perform a series of continuous composite but separate functions. That means both of the friends have to perform the managerial activities in their respective organizations. On the same day, Anuj may spend more time in planning and future layout, and another day she may spend time in sorting the employee's problem. Now, Anuj is performing two activities. First one is planning. He is giving most of his time in the planning phase, and second, he involves in resolving the problems of the employees. Both Anuj and Manju is conscious about the efforts to build a feeling in the team spirit. Now, both are involving all the employees, both are doing the work with the team spirit. So, each and every individual of the organization cooperates with each other. Now, the main question is identify the various features of the management highlighted here. Now, the management is all pervasive. The first feature is management is all pervasive. That means it is required at each and every level of the organization, irrespective to their levels, whether they are top management, middle level management, or the lower level management. The second one is management is goal oriented process. That means overall activities which has been performed has some basic objectives or goals. That is, Anuj is taking up marketing job and the retail company strive to increase the sales. That means the overall functions which is being performed by the Anuj is for increasing the sale. That means it is a purpose, it is a goal of the organization to increase the sale which the company wants from the Anuj. And the second one is NGO. The Manju is working for the NGO and works diligently to realize its objective related to providing the employment. That means जो ऑब्जेक्टिव किस चीज़ के लिए किया जा रहा है, मंजू जो काम कर रही है वो किस चीज़ के लिए किया जा रहा है, वो लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट प्रोवाइड करने के लिए किया जा रहा है. तो दोनों ही फेज में क्या हो गया, हमारे ऑब्जेक्टिव सेट हो गए. पहली चीज़ तो क्या थी, सेल्स को इंक्रीज करना, और सेकंड चीज़ क्या थी, एम्प्लॉयमेंट प्रोवाइड करना. तो जो भी मैनेजमेंट एक्टिविटीज़ की जा रही है वो किस लिए की जा रही है, तो इसके लिए कोई ना कोई पर्पज़ है. And the third one is it is an continuous process. That means we have already seen in the question that it is an continuous composite but separate function. So it is already mentioned that management is an continuous process. It is not a single time activity. We have to perform the management activities on each and every level on the continuous basis. That means if the scenario changes, if any circumstances changes, then the management is to be performed.